Here we have a Phalaenopsis orchid. They're one of the easiest orchids to grow indoors. They're beautiful, they flower for a long period, and they're very easy care. One of the questions we often get is, how do you water a Phalaenopsis orchid? And that's what we're going to show you today. You'll notice that this orchid is growing in a small decorative pot, but it's sitting inside another pot which we can remove. We'll do that and show you the method for watering your Phalaenopsis orchids. So we've removed the orchid from the pot, and now we're going to fill the pot with tepid water. Don't use cold water, and certainly don't use hot water. Once we've done that, we can return the orchid to the decorative pot. It's going to push some of that water out. But it's sitting in there and soaking. The orchid needs to soak for about 45 minutes. And as it does, the water level in the pot will drop. We can simply top that up every minute or two for about the first 10 or 15 minutes, and after that the orchid can soak. We'll leave that to soak for a good 45 minutes, then we'll come back to it. As you can see, the orchid's no longer lowering the water level. It's been about 45 minutes, so now we're ready for the next step, and that's to remove the orchid from the decorative pot and let it drain for another 45 minutes. This is important because we don't want the orchid to drain water into the decorative pot and then for our Phalaenopsis orchid to actually be sitting in water. This can cause really bad root problems, and we certainly don't want that. Throughout this process, we're attempting to keep the foliage as dry as possible. And if you want to know the best time to water, that's going to be in the morning. This allows the foliage to dry out, if it does get wet, before the cold night temperatures. Once the pot that you're growing the orchid in has thoroughly drained, again 45 minutes, you can replace it into its decorative pot and you're ready to put it back indoors in its normal position. How often do you need to water? Well, as a general rule, once every 2 weeks. But you can test the growing medium by placing your finger on the top and seeing if it's still moist. If it's starting to dry out, it's time to water. If it's moist, then you don't need to water. So the amount you water will differ according to the temperature and humidity. You may also like our video on how to prune Phalaenopsis orchids. For more information on orchids, rare bulbs, roses, water features for the garden, how to grow herbs or vegetables, subscribe to our YouTube channel or visit the website for lots of information on how to grow a whole range of plants.